Right, I have two brushes here. This is my small flow brush. You can get this from Oriental Art Supply. And then I have a detail brush. And I don't have any paper. Okay. Anyway, I have my paper if I need to. Got my water dish, plate to mix in my watercolors. Black ink. I'm going to spray my watercolors. So the leaves of the aloe are tones of green, but they're a little gray green. They're not a bright spring green. So we want to add some black to it, a little black ink. And I'm using my plate to mix the color. Blending. Okay. So the brush is filled about 60% of the way with the lighter tone or the less concentrated tone of green. And then I'm dipping it in back into my palette, getting a little darker tone, a little more concentrated on the tip. So when we paint the orchid leaf, we start here, the left side or the right side of the paper, and we do what's called a nail head. That helps us with our intention and helps to actually nail the first leaf. Right, so we go a little bit from left to right, and then we move our brush so that it'll become more vertical instead of horizontal. And we press, and we put more energy, more, and then less. So that we get this thicker and then thinner area. When we're doing the aloe has a center to it, just like the nail head portion of our orchid leaf. So here's where we would nail it, and everything emanates from that center. You know, we have to be careful when we do our composition not to center the aloe too much. And the aloe grows kind of straight up, right? So we want to put it asymmetrical, put it on one side so that we could have a butterfly, a bug, kind of bird coming into the area. We lead our eyes to that aloe. And some aloes are this purplish, which is really nice. So you can add a little tones of purple to it too. And when I do my demo, you know, sometimes I do place things in the center, and it's just for demonstration, but try not to center it. Okay, so here's my nail head, and it curves a little bit like the bottom of the celery. So I press. I'm putting a lot of pressure. It's almost like a side stroke here. I'm going to bring my brush up, and that aloe is pointed. Right? Not all aloes are quite that pointed, but my model is. Dip here, lift, go off the edges, right? Press, put it at a different angle than this one for interest. These are going to be all here. And so press and turn, lift. Press. Turn. If you don't get the tip pointed, that's okay. That's a little flying white. That's a thing that's appreciated in Asian painting. I'm going to make some little leaves in the background. Have it come through. My brush is a little dry, so I lifted it off and I'm pointing it. See, my tip was a little separated. I'm going to add a little bit more moisture so that the tip will now come to a point instead of two splitting. I can also take a little bit of water, spray bottle, and spray the heel to moisture dries the area versus. There's my aloe, and there's the ground. Right, so we want to put the flowers in, and I left some space here and a little bit of space here to put my flower. And the flower has a bit of brown to it. And I'm going to take it directly from my palette. If you don't have brown, you can make brown with orange and black. And we use these little vertical strokes of right, like outline strokes like that. Can you see my, like this, to make aloe. Okay, so I'm going to say that it starts from this center here, and I'm going to paint it in the air because it's behind these leaves. And here it comes out. Right, so there would be my stalk. And now I'm going to mix in, clean my brush again, because I want some nice color to it. And I'm going to take a little red orange and some red. And get rid of all that extra moisture. See, that's too much moisture. I want it to be nice and dark here. And then take some red that's already in my palette. Mix it in. And these are based on the chrysanthemum flower stroke, which will be coming from the center out would be like this. Or coming from the center in, you can do them like that. And remember, it is essentially a triangular shape and wider at the bottom. So I'm going to do an imaginary line here and push. And if that's not wide enough, I can make these wider down here. A little darker tone. And there's my aloe. Okay. And you want to put some ground here. I've got some red on my brush and I have some green on my palette. And if I blend this together, I also get a brownish color. So not to waste anything that's on my palette, I'll take it and mix it into my OIS small flow brush and just put my brush sideways and dab here and there. So it would look like dirt, and even go over the top of that center so that it looks like it's embedded in the dirt instead of sitting on top of it, right? And here we go. Okay. Stop recording. Okay, stop recording.